Hello and welcome back to the Football Flynn show. As you can see, the Inter top is on, but today we've got a very special video. We are going to be doing a preview for the Champions League final, which is tomorrow night, Saturday, 8 o'clock. What an exciting game to look forward to, PSG versus Inter Milan. So today we're just going to be doing a preview on it, predictions, looking at the lineups, all that, and then I'll give my own prediction at the end pretty much. And the Inter top is on, as I already says, but I don't have a PSG top, so I might as well wear the Inter top. So we'll just get straight into it now. Starting off, this is the first ever competitive meeting between Inter and PSG, and it's also the second European Cup / UEFA Champions League final between an Italian and a French side. After Marseille beat Milan 1-0 in 1993, and that's the only French side to have ever won the trophy. It will be an exciting match tomorrow night. I am looking forward to it. I would say the favourites are probably PSG, but then you do realise that a shock Inter win, that wouldn't be a shock really to anyone, because I could see Inter winning it, because they are a very good side as well. But this is Inter's 7th appearance in the European Cup or Champions League final, so they have got that experience there compared to PSG. So I don't know, it'll be interesting to see. If you've got any predictions about the game, drop them down in the comments below, and sure, you might be right maybe, but hopefully it'll be a good game anyways, an exciting game to watch. This is PSG's second ever appearance in the European Cup, UEFA Champions League. Basically the same thing, but I'm just going to say it just because no one will get angry at me. The final, losing 1-0 against Bayern Munich in 2019. You remember that? Neymar cut in, hit the crossbar top right. Oh, I remember that. That was going to be such a good goal as well. And then this will be the 5th UEFA Champions League final to be held in Munich, actually. So when Marseille beat Milan 1-0, that's the only time the French team has won the trophy. That final was also held in Munich. So you never know, we might see another French side win tonight. Now, going on to more of the lineups now. And the form that they have. If you look at the knockout stages where both teams have got through, so PSG's run of games compared to Inter's run of games, and it all started really in the knockout with PSG beating Brest 10-0 in aggregate. They got Brest out 10-0. It's crazy to be saying that as well, but then they moved on to Liverpool, beat them, and then they moved on to Aston Villa in the semis. Beat them 5-4 in aggregate, and then obviously the semi-final, which was did I say semi-finals for Aston Villa? I meant the quarter-finals, and then the semi-finals, obviously Arsenal PSG won 3-1 in aggregate. Now if we look at Inter's side of the brackets, they faced off against Feyenoord first, and they beat them 4-1 after Feyenoord eliminated AC Milan in the round before that. So we might have actually got to see if Milan beat Feyenoord, we would have got to see Inter Milan versus AC Milan in, I think it would be the round of 16, yeah. And then they moved on then to play FC Bayern Munich. They beat them 4-3, and then obviously in the semi-final 7-6 on aggregate against Barcelona, they beat them, and that concludes to the final tomorrow night, PSG versus Inter, obviously. But the one thing I would say about Inter is they haven't lost in 6 matches, and they've won their previous 2 matches against Paris and Japan. Now, we're going to go into, well, not head to head, but if you look at, the friendlies don't really count for the previous 2 meetings, because they are friendlies really, they're club friendlies, but you can still kind of count them, but not really. You look at the top goal scorers, you look at the players, the caliber of players that are playing tomorrow night. You look at Ousmane Dembele, Lautaro Martinez, the both top 2 goal scorers for each team in the Champions League. 8 goals for Ousmane Dembele, 9 for Lautaro Martinez, 4 assists for Ousmane Dembele, who is also a Ballon d'Or contender, a heavy Ballon d'Or contender. It's either him or one of the Barca players, and it kind of comes down to tomorrow night. If Dembele wins the Champions League, he probably will be crowned the Ballon d'Or winner. He probably should be as well. He's had a brilliant season. And then you also have the likes of Kvicha Kvaratskhelia in that left wing, Desiree Doué or Bradley Barcola going to play through the middle. So you never know who will actually play through the middle for that PSG side. They could go mix up altogether, go Goncalo Ramos. But PSG are actually without Presnel Kimpembe. Sorry, I just had to go back to that song, that World Cup song in 2018. But then he hasn't played much at all this season. And then whereas Inter's 2 injury doubts were, well, 3 of them actually, Bisek, Pavard and Zielinski. Now Pavard and Zielinski both returned to training this weekend, so did Bisek. So they should be involved in the squad and they should be ready to go anyway. So hopefully for Inter fans, they are back, because, you know, even to come off the bench, Zielinski in midfield, for Tessie, players like that, they'll make a big difference. So we look at their form. PSG's Champions League form, out of their last 5 games, they've lost 2 and won 4. Sorry, 6 games. They've lost 2 and won 4. And then you look at their all competitions, they've lost 1 and won, I think that's 5. Yeah, they've lost 1 and won 5. Now, Inter's Champions League form, they've won 4, they've drew 2. And then their form in all competitions, drew 2 and then won 4. Now, to be fair to Inter, actually, they played Como last week and they rested most of the squad. It was only Çalhanoğlu, Jan Sommer and DeMarco who were playing in that game, and they're probably going to stay in the lineup for this week. If we're looking at the lineups, I mean, my guess would be it will probably be the exact same thing, really. I would say Donnarumma nets for PSG, obviously. Right back Hakimi, centre backs Marquinhos and Pacho. 2 very good centre backs, by the way. This is going to be such a good tie, because you have the likes of Thuram and Lautaro Martinez coming up against them, as well as your attacking wing backs of Nuno Mendes and Hakimi, who love to get on the score sheet. And I'm even looking at the Arsenal game here, 2-1. Hakimi was on the score sheet, you know. It must be, you know, they probably can get caught in the counter, and I think Inter will be well able to defend them at times. You know, they've played against the likes of Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, they've played against Fabian Ruiz. Most of them have played with Donnarumma and nets. Doesn't make much of a difference. But I mean, if both wing backs for PSG go and start going forward, you never know, PSG might get the space. You know, the running power of Thuram and then obviously the finishing of Lautaro Martinez. It's a massive difference when you have them 2 forwards up front, the form that they're in. And in the midfield, I think one of the PSG's probably best things is their midfield. You know, João Neves, Vitinha and Fabian Ruiz, they just control the game. And Fabian Ruiz, speaking about the Arsenal game, scored in that game, but overall they just control the game. João Neves and Vitinha get on the ball constantly trying to create things, and then Fabian Ruiz picks up pockets of space and gets on the end of things around the box, looking for goals, looking for chances, looking for assists. So that's a big help. So Inter's midfield might have to be switched on, where you've got the veterans of Çalhanoğlu and Mkhitaryan, but then the stamina, the running power of Nico Barella. I mean, it's still a very good midfield to match with. And then finally, the 3 forward line. As I said earlier, it will be difficult to see who will play where. But as against Arsenal was Desiree Doué in the right, Barcola and Kvicha Kvaratskhelia. And that's the one thing I love about PSG's forward line, is that Kvicha Kvaratskhelia can go anywhere in that, Bradley Barcola can go anywhere in that 3, and then Desiree Doué can go anywhere in that 3, and they're constantly switching. So if you're let's say if you're DeMarco and you're only getting used to marking Dembele, and then Kvaratskhelia comes over then 5 minutes later, you know, and it slows down the momentum, then maybe Desiree Doué or Bradley Barcola comes over, you know, you never get a rest. Then different types of wingers constantly, and it's probably one of their main attacking points, is when they can switch their wingers constantly. They can change, Kvaratskhelia not doing well on the left wing. Let's switch him to the right and let's see how he does out there. Now, he's probably just blabbered on there for a good wee while, but moving on to Inter's lineup, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, they might go with their 3-back, or you can call it a 5-back. It's really the same thing, like with the wing-backs. You've got, obviously, Jan Sommer in net, who was brilliant against Barca in that tie. I mean, what a keeper. And he always looks so small on the TV, but he's actually not even that small compared to, I mean, look at Donnarumma, the height of him. But his agility, his positioning, his smartness, everything, you know, even for that Lamine Yamal save at the end, he was already moved before Lamine Yamal took the shot. Like, it was brilliant. I said straight away once I was watching it, he's already moved for that, and he went and saved it. It was a brilliant save, you know. So it's obviously a big plus for them to have him in net. Their 3-back with a Cherby in the middle, you know, the veteran kind of, you'd say, and he just probably controls it. He keeps it all organised, and then you've got Bastoni to the left, a brilliant centre back, and then you've got Jan Bisek to the right, who is brilliant as well. Like, but considering he might be an injury doubt, you might see Stefan de Vrij, but I don't think you will. I think Bisek will start anyways, but apparently he was having a bit of an injury doubt. Then obviously you move on to the midfield 5, you could say, but you have Denzel Dumfries out right wing back anyways, and DeMarco left wing back. I mean, if you ever really wanted wing backs, this is the game for wing backs. You look at Nuno Mendes and Hakimi, and then you look at Denzel Dumfries and DeMarco. Both of them are brilliant. DeMarco's got a wand of left foot for set pieces and everything, and Denzel Dumfries, I mean, he's probably been Inter's best player this year. I've seen most fans saying he has been brilliant for them, but I mean, you look at the amount of chances both teams, to be fair, both fullbacks, the amount of chances they create, the amount of chances they get. You know, he's got 7 goals, Denzel Dumfries, in 29 matches and 2 assists for Inter in the Serie A only, you know. And then I'll just check here for the Champions League. He's got 2 goals, 3 assists in 11 matches. And then DeMarco probably hasn't had as good of a year as, you know, last year, but I still think he's brilliant. Like, he is a brilliant defender, and he's only 27. He's only 27, but I mean, if you look at the Champions League, he's only got 1 assist in 9 matches, which isn't great. And then you've got 4 goals and 7 assists in 34 matches for Inter, but I still think, you know, he's absolutely quality, both wing backs. They do everything, I think. You look at the way DeMarco's side, I mean, they had to put 5 players in Lamine Yamal, but I mean, it worked, to be fair, in the end up. Now moving on to the midfield, you know, Nico Barella, as I said, Hakan Çalhanoğlu and Mkhitaryan. I mean, it still is a good midfield. There's a lot of smartness in that midfield. Don't even know if that's a word, but I'm just going to say it is. I mean, Çalhanoğlu, wow, talking about set piece takers with DeMarco, he can hit a ball, Çalhanoğlu. And then obviously you've got Nico Barella, who will try and get in the end of things tonight or tomorrow night around the edge of the box, and pick up shots, maybe try and create stuff. And then Henrik Mkhitaryan and Çalhanoğlu will control the game a bit more, or try to get a foothold in the game, you know, with the likes of Vitinha and João Neves in that midfield. And then obviously up front, Lautaro Martinez, Marcus Thuram. As I've already described, you know, I don't really know what else to say about them, because I've already talked about them. You look at Lautaro Martinez, he's only had 12 goals, well, only, that's an understatement, but he's had 12 goals in the Serie A and 3 assists. And then you look at it in the Champions League, as I said earlier, 13 matches, 9 goals, 0 assists, but 9 goals in 13 matches is brilliant. Even against Barcelona, you know, he still scored, and you could see his hamstring was bandaged up. And then Marcus Thuram as well is a massive plus up front. 14 goals in the Serie A this year, more than Lautaro Martinez. 32 matches, 4 assists. I mean, what a player he is as well. He's got everything. He's got pace, power. He can finish. He can do everything as a forward. But in the Champions League, he's kind of let him down. He's got 4 goals in 13 matches and 1 assist. but still a very dangerous forward line to take on Pacho and Marquinhos at the back. Now, probably because I've blathered on there for a while, this is the main time. This is probably the time you have tuned in for predictions. Who do I think is going to win? Well, I have thought about this, to be fair, and I mean, it's hard to go against PSG, who are the favourites. You know, if I'll search it up here. Actually, I'll go on to FOTMob here. 60%, so there's a wee voting thing when you go into the matches. 60% say PSG will win, 7% say it will end in a draw, which could go to extra time and then penalties, and then 33% say Inter will win. Now, make of that what you will, but you look at the form Inter's and you look at the form PSG, and obviously PSG won the Ligue 1 not long ago, and Napoli won the Serie A, so Inter will definitely want to get themselves a trophy this year anyways, but I mean PSG will definitely want to do the same anyway, so it will just be a final. Hopefully it will be a good game. I would say Real Madrid, breaking news coming in, Real Madrid signed Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he can play in the Club World Cup, apparently 10 million. Wow. So Trent now can play in the Club World Cup. Yeah, 10 million fee. An early 10 million fee is agreed. Right, anyways, back to the main thing. No one wants to learn about Trent and Real Madrid and Liverpool. We're here for the maiden night. PSG versus Inter. I'll say PSG 2-1 win, I reckon, after extra time. I reckon this game will go to extra time. I reckon there'll be a lot of open phases of football where it will be up and down and up and down, just like that Barca game, and what a match that was between Barca and Inter. But I'm going to go with PSG 2-1. I just think they have too much. You know, you look at the subs they bring on, Desiree Doué or Barcola, one of the two of them, and then Dembele and Kvaratskhelia. Their midfield is brilliant, their backline is brilliant, and Donnarumma and nets, like, he's been brilliant as well. But you could say the exact same thing about Inter. That's why it's such a tough one to call, and probably one of the toughest ones to call in a while. You know, both of them have been involved in tight matches during their way to their path to the finals, but I don't think it will go to penalties. I think it could go to extra time. I think it'll either be, I think it'll be 2-1 PSG or 3-2 PSG. I think it will. But it definitely wouldn't surprise me if Inter win. I could still see Inter winning 2-1 or even 3-2. Like, I just think PSG just have a bit too much. Just watching them this year, they've been brilliant. And yeah, so I'm just going to go 3-2 PSG after extra time, I reckon. But yeah, hopefully you've all enjoyed. Hopefully it'll be a brilliant match tomorrow night. It'll be brilliant to watch, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down in the comment section, who do you think will win? PSG, Inter, do you think we'll go to penalties, or do you think we'll end in normal time? But hopefully you all enjoyed, and see you guys next time. Goodbye.